Hello everyone and welcome to the Distinct Mastering YouTube channel. My name is Freddie. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Ableton Live 12.1 updates. And I know I'm a little bit late on this video. There's already some videos out there, but I'm also going to show you some of the hidden features that some of these other videos don't talk about. So if you want to learn about those, stay tuned till the end. Let's get in my session and check it out. Okay, here we are in Ableton and I'm working on a track as usual. This was the track that I basically merged into my new template session and set up all the K-metering. If you're curious to know about K-metering, I have a video. I'll leave you a link down below. But today we're going to be talking about the new Ableton Live 12.1 updates, and stay tuned till the end because I'm going to give you some of the hidden features that some of the other videos that I saw on YouTube do not talk about. Okay, the first tip I'm going to show you is this full height browser feature. If you click up here in the top left, you could turn your browser now on to full height, which just shifts this over to the right. I'm kind of digging that. I'm not going to lie. It's pretty cool. You know, I'll bring myself back on now that you see how that works. But cool feature because sometimes you could be sifting and scrolling, and this just kind of puts things in, gives you some control on your workspace. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is related to the browser, so I shut myself off again. But now they have an auto tags feature. I recently went through my sample packs folder right here on the left and just finished up tagging all my samples manually, and it's been a game-changing thing for me. I talk about this in my Ableton Live 12 updates video on how this works. If you're curious, I'll leave you a link down below. But now I'm working towards cleaning out, you know, organizing the splice and the sounds.com, which doesn't exist anymore. But now they have auto tags, and you can toggle it on and off. So it sees that it's a loop. It doesn't see that it's a vocal. It's not perfect yet. Let's try some basic ones. So there's a loop. Then it's a synth bass. So the tagging feature is pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. See, there it says it's a loop, and it's got it as a drum loop. It didn't put top drum loop, but I think that was one that I added. So super cool feature right there, auto tags. Okay, so here's another cool tip that Ableton did. Check out this sound right here. This came from, I don't know, maybe Loop Cloud or Splice, and you know, it says that it's F sharp, but it's really been auto warped in that other program and brought in, and so it's actually in C minor. And Ableton created something called scale awareness. So obviously if you have the scale on up here, but you turn the scale awareness on in the audio clip right here, what that's going to now do is going to let other consecutive plugins on that track know the scale. So for example, in this new plugin that I'm going to talk about shortly, the auto shift, you have the scale awareness button up here, and you see that because I set that to C minor, now this changed to C minor. Scale awareness will keep some of your plugins and your keys in check. Super cool. Okay, the next feature I want to talk about is called automatic grooves. And as you see here, I just applied an MPC 54 swing to this clip right here, and there's a new button here, and this is the automatic groove button. So what that will basically do is turn on automatic grooves for every sound that you bring in moving forward. Pay attention that when you turn it on, it will only apply to new things you bring in, not previous stuff. So you may still want to go in, select all, apply your groove, and then from there you can have automatic groove. Okay, so what I want to show you now is this new drum sampler. This is a cool little plugin, and just to verify that it all sounds the same, here's my original kick with the kick with the simpler. Here's the drum sampler, and here's the just raw audio. All sound pretty similar to me. Let's explore this drum sampler. So basically, it's just a cool way to handle one-shots. You have the sample here, start, length. Let's play this, loop this, and play this. So you can set the start time, shorten the length, lower, turn it up. You can adjust the attack, the hold time. It's not doing much there. But if the decay's down, then you get hold. Transpose, Detune by scent. Then you have two modes here. You have gate and trigger. Notice hold disappears when you're using the gate. And just so you know, the trigger mode will continue to play the sample after you let go if you're playing the note, say on a MIDI controller like your keyboard or a pad. And in gate mode, the minute you let go of that pad or key, it's going to trail off. So just two ways of kind of operating. The cool thing about this is now you have this effects section. So you can turn it on and off here. And you get this XY pad where you can control the factor and the grain. And these are fully automatable, so you can really automate some cool tricks in your one-shot samples. So that's just stretching. You have loop. Pretty cool. Pitch envelope. So just giving you a little pitch. You have punch. Now you don't have to use the XY pad. You can just turn up the amount, turn up the release, turn down the release, which isn't doing anything. You have 8-bit. Pretty cool effect. FM synthesis. So if FM stands for frequency modulation, it's just modulating the frequency amongst itself, I assume. One cool trick probably would be to find the frequency of this kick, which we can easily do here. And let's put it back to normal. So the peak is looking at about 62.9 hertz. Let's try something unique. Let's try 62.9. And then you could take multiples of that. So 62.9, 120, 62.9 times 2 would be 125.8. It came to 126. And then 126. 126 times 2 would be 252. So you're modulating the actual frequency, the actual peak of that drum sample, which is kind of cool. Next, you have the ring mod, which stands for ring modulation. You could probably do the same thing here if you wanted to kind of stay in key with it. 62.5, 256. But you don't have to, you know, that's the beauty of it. And then last but not least, you have the sub oscillator. So if you maybe have kind of a kick drum or a sound that doesn't have a lot of bass, you can increase the sub. And you can control the area. So that was the kick without. And wow, that made it really much beefier. Yeah. So we're going to shut off the effects. And then you obviously have a filter here. Let's solo this back up. You have a filter. So you have high cut or low pass, and then low cut, high pass, and then band pass. So you can just basically do basic filtering. I don't need to go over that. You have a volume knob, pan knob, and then this is velocity to volume. So this will control how much the velocity affects the volume. And then you have your modulation source, which you have velocity and slide, and you can pick different parameters to modulate based on your velocity, and you just need to turn the amount up or down. So that is the drum sampler. Beautiful, beautiful new instrument by Ableton. Okay, the next plugin I want to talk about is the Ableton Auto Shift. This is a cool little plugin because it's basically kind of like an auto tune, but you can do some wacky things with this from what I was learning about. You can actually bring it in via MIDI if you wanted to. so you can have MIDI control this. This is going to require a video on its own, so if you're curious about how to use this thing in full, because I need to explore it some more, drop me a comment down below. But in the most basic use case, you know, I could just set the scale, and once again, it has the scale detect, so if I just click that, the scale awareness, I mean. Now this Michael Jackson vocal is let's turn this off. So we created this Michael Jackson acapella. We were chopping it up and we were doing some cool things. I hope I don't get hit for copyright, but I got a whole piece of it right here. And you can see that it's just putting everything into a proper key. So it's basically like auto-tune or a Melodyne or Waves Tune, which is another one I like to use. And, you know, it's got different modes. You can have the strength, the smoothing, and obviously your scale, and you can shift it. So you could run this thing in parallel and have different, you know, harmonies running. You have different detection modes. This one says it's in high, so we'll select high. And let's make it a little smoother. Get a little vibrato. And then another thing here, got a formant shifter. So that could be cool to like duplicate your track and then set up some more layers with the auto shift. Another thing you can do, which I need to explore a little bit more, is you can control it via MIDI. So I assume maybe you can get some interesting effects this way. Let's try something. Let's try it on this Aquinius pad that I set up for something to show you later here. Oh wait, I gotta turn it on. Let's try it on the one above it. It's just a straight drone pad. There we go. So it's almost acting like a vocoder. More voices. Oh, this is mod routing. Okay, so yeah, I have to figure this out. So if you're curious to learn more about this, I could do a whole video. Drop me a comment in the comments and I will dive deep into this. Looks like there's also an LFO section here. And so if I turn this on, oh, that's where this mod routing is going. Oh, that's cool. Check this out. We can pan. Yeah, that's a super cool plugin. Great new instrument to play around with. I'm going to have some fun with that one. Okay, next on the list is the new Ableton Limiter, and I don't have any limiting on my master bus right now. Usually I will turn some limiting on just to get some volume and see kind of how it sounds. I don't ever master in these production sessions. I master in Pro Tools in a separate session. But let's go ahead and play with it. I'm going to turn off this. Let's turn off Michael. So before, and let's turn it on. So I have the maximize on and I have it on 3. So, you know, squeezing it, I would never do that, but it's not really distorting, which is interesting. You have 3 modes here. Interesting. Interesting. And mind you, this track is not mixed, so some things are loud, like that effect that you just heard was really loud and probably hit that limiter pretty hard. Just for comparison, I use this one in my template. And I just have this one set to... Oh, that's a little hot. So now this is at 3. Now they're probably not going to be exactly in the same comparison. One other thing that I know they did is they changed the meters here. So it's actually not, you see here 0 to 6 takes up half the meter. So you get more control, more finite control. It's logarithmic, it looks like. So, and then you have the auto release, and you can also do mid-side, and there's a look ahead button. So very interesting. This is the new Ableton Limiter. Okay, the reason why that bass was so loud is because I had this Ableton Saturator on, and that was really hitting the limiter pretty hard, as you see here. Now it's not hitting at all. So I forgot to turn that off when I was playing around with this session, but we're going to turn those off anyways. I put the Ableton Saturator on this bass bus, and it's a cool new saturator. Look at that. So just to give you an overview, you have you can open this up for a color curve. We'll get to that in a second. You have different saturation types: analog, soft, bass shaper, medium curve, hard curve, etc. And then you have an amount knob here where you can go positive and negative to increase the amount. And then you have a clipper here. And the color can turn on and off as well. So there's before. And one thing it is causing a little bit of loss in the really, really low subby end. So just be careful with that. Okay, so what I want to show you next is this cool new feature in the envelope follower. And I don't use the envelope follower too much, but this is a cool feature. So what I've got is, you see here this arrow, you can open up a window now in the envelope follower. And if you're not familiar with the envelope follower is, it'll just follow envelopes, and then you can map things to different parameters within Ableton plugins. So for example, here, if I click this, you see I have the first one mapped to this auto filter's frequency. And basically what I have it doing is I have it side chained from these shakers. Now I could pick anything. I could pick the vocals, I could pick the hi-hat, and let me go over here and let me mute these vocals. So this is what it's doing without. See that this is just moving this right here. Now I could take this down, increase it. Let's say I wanted to pick the hi-hats. So that's the closed hat. There's the open hat. You could pick anything really. If you wanted to pick the vocal, it has to be on though, or you have to pick pre-effects. So this bus is going to need to be on, and the vocal's not happening. See, there it was on and then off because the vocal. And so you can get a lot of cool effects with that. I really liked using the shaker. Okay, now, just as promised, I'm going to show you some of the new hidden features in Ableton Live 12. I made this MIDI clip right here with just a bunch of random notes. I'm going to open this up a bit so you can see. Basically, you have this find and search feature now. So if I click this magnifying glass, I can then search by different parameters or by notes. See that? It's letting me select the notes, and it will select all of the notes in that clip. So I could be like, oh, I want to invert that, or I want to select all of those. Or you can hold command and then select them, select multiple ones. So for example, there's a mistake here. There are a couple notes I purposely put that were wrong, that were F sharp. And I could easily just, boom, F sharp, delete, and fix some clips that way. I could adjust things by time, chance, condition. See, all of these are different options that you can get to find things that you might want to alter. So you should definitely give this a look. This is a cool new feature in Ableton 12.1. Okay, here's another cool one. If you hold Command Option Z, you're going to get undo history right here on the right. And instead of just completely undoing by hitting Command Z over and over and over, you can scroll down to a certain time and roll back to where you wanted to be. And look, it just rolled all the way back. And then if you want to go back up, you could just roll right back up. This is so amazing. I love the fact that they did this. This is a much needed update. Ableton, great job on the undo history feature. I'm sure other DAWs have this, but just props. Okay, now we're going to have some fun. We're going to get into the new Ableton MIDI tools. Check out this glissando feature. If I click on MPE, now I'm going to open this up for you guys a little bit. I'm going to actually go to this clip right here and click on MPE. And what I want to do is I want to go to the Transform tab here, and I've selected glissando. Now you can select the notes you want to alter, but you're going to need to select, let's shrink this up a little bit so you can see everything. And we'll just bring this back down. Can you guys see that? Yes, you can. All right, so check this out. I can then change the curve. Check, let's solo this. So it sounded before just a straight up boom, and then I can hit transform. That's so cool. I will be using that. I've been doing a lot of Stutter House stuff at the NOS Recordings record label. If you want to check out my label, there's links down below. And we've been doing some new Stutter House stuff, and this feature I'm definitely going to be using for that. Another new MPE feature is the time warp here. So you can adjust the time of the notes. Look, I can even double the speed. You can turn off the auto if you don't want it to transform automatically. You can have quantize the range. It's a pretty cool feature here. You can kind of basically just kind of warp the MIDI notes and maybe get some interesting effect or playing style that way. And last but not least, there's a new LFO. So check this out. You can then transform this, and you get an LFO in your MIDI. Super crazy. You can control the envelope of the attack, the decay, so you can kind of slope it in. I mean, that's just crazy. The MPE features are insane. And just for the sake of understanding what MPE is, it stands for MIDI Polyphonic Expression. And normally when you're working with MIDI, say you adjust the pitch bend, it's going to adjust the pitch bend for all the voices within that MIDI sound. But with MPE, each individual note gets its own controls, and you can literally do so much with this because you don't have to do it on all of the notes. I could just say, you know what, I just want to do it on that note, And that is the power of MPE. So I hope you found this video super useful. Those are some of the hidden features and all of the new Ableton 12.1 updates. If you found any others that I might have missed, drop me a comment below. And if you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and that bell notification will keep you up to date. I'm looking for new ways to promote the channel and do new things, so I'd love to hear from you down in the comments on what you guys would like to see. And until I see you on the next one, peace.